Welcome in another episode of the Betting Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real underscore G Warner. It is late night, per usual, I guess, with Real underscore G Warner. We're gonna go through the Champions League last match day of this league phase. We're gonna go through the permutations, who's playing for what, and try to figure out exactly what the lineups are gonna look like. About let's see, 13 hours before kickoff, 13 and a half or so. We'll, of course, get you some best bets. We'll have one on this entire episode because every match starts at the same exact time. But maybe that's for the best. And they play them all at the same time so that there's no advantages gained by anyone who gets to play later than somebody else. So we'll see how this goes. I am going to open up the match day 8 lines. We'll start in England, or at least with an English club. We'll start with Liverpool hosting Karabag of Azerbaijan. Currently, Liverpool are 2.5 goal favorites right now at home, with more of the juice. Total in this one is 3 3/4, juice more to the over. Karabag have been probably one of the bigger surprises in this whole competition. Good for them, all that sort of stuff. I think there's some ability in the Karabag side, but going on the road to an English Premier League side seems very, very difficult. And now, as I should have the Champions League standings up, I thought I opened that already, but now we got them right in front of us. Liverpool, they're currently sitting in fourth position on 15 points, in pretty good shape to finish top eight. Top eight get a bye. That's what everyone's playing for here. Top 24 move through. That's important too. But as long as you get 24th or better, or eighth or better, those are what we're shooting for. On the Karabakh side, they are currently in 18th on 10 points. 24th has 8. There is one team in 27th, Bruges, who are on 7 points. If they win, they could get them. I guess Napoli, Copenhagen, currently on 25th and 26th, could also pass them. So they are not safe. A point would be very important to essentially clinch their pass through to the next round. That's pretty big. Not a lot of faith, though, in Cordoba getting a point. They've been really competitive. I think a lot of the results have come at home. I'm not sure that's enough for me to want to get involved here, but it is a much bigger spread than I expected. I don't think Liverpool is this good. I haven't for this entire season. But we'll look a little bit deeper as we get further into these matches. We'll go next to Manchester City, another English club hosting Galatasaray of Istanbul, Turkey. Currently, Manchester City a 2 goal favorite right now, with more of the juice actually on the Galatasaray underdog +2. Total in this one is also 3 3/4, and it is juiced pretty heavily to under. A lot more goals they're expecting, I guess, in this last match day. So going back to the Champions League table, Manchester City, they're currently sitting in 11th position on 13 points. Cannot be caught. They have advanced, but they are trying to find a way to the top 8, which they're actually tied all the way up to 6th, the PSG. From a Galatasaray perspective, they're in 17th position on 10 points. Similar story to Karabag, who I just talked about. So they need to get a draw to get themselves through, and then probably get a little bit of help as well. They're actually on 0. They've conceded 9 and scored 9. So they're on 0 goal differential, which is a lot better than some of the negatives that are below them. So they're probably in pretty good shape. 2 goal underdogs is of interest to me, bigger than I made it. I guess at this point, we'll see if. Seems like the spread is gigantic, but it's probably because Manchester City well, in England, which always gets overrated in this competition, in my opinion. And also, they're playing on the road. Move next to Borussia Dortmund hosting Inter Milan. Currently, Dortmund, a quarter-goal underdog at home to the best club in Italy, in my humble opinion. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it's just more to the over by about 6 cents, -113 to -107. Dortmund are a really good home team, and so it's really hard to look away from them. Inter, I think, have been screwed in this competition a couple times by bad refereeing, but hasn't hurt them too bad as they're in 14th position on 12 points, cannot be caught. They will be moving through, but of course they want to finish top 8. As from a Dortmund perspective, they're in 16th on 11 points, and they can be caught, so that's probably what they're most worried about. I think the quarter goal underdog at home in the Signal Iduna Park, as it's called. I think that's formerly the Westfalen Stadion. That's of interest to me. I think a low-scoring game here as well, because Dortmund, they actually defend in Champions League. They don't do that in the Bundesliga because they need to win every match according to their fan base, expectations, all those sort of things. I do think we see a low-scoring match. Inter are probably going to play into that type of set up, trying to control this game as much as they can with possession of the ball. I know that Dortmund want to let that happen, but it's probably something we could see. Moving next, Atletico Madrid hosting Bodo Glimt of Norway, way up in the Arctic Circle. Currently, Atleti a 1 3/4 goal favorite, bigger than I made it. What a surprise! Seems like the underdogs are gigantic this week. Total this one is 3 3/4. Again, another big total. Bodo Glimt, they want to score goals though, so that makes a little bit more sense to me. It's still a lot bigger than I made it on both counts. In terms of where these teams sit in the Champions League table, at Atletico Madrid, they are currently on in 12th position on 13 points, which is certainly very helpful. They cannot be caught, so they will advance. Bodo Glimt on the other side, they are in 28th on six. They could win, maybe get up to 9 points, which would put them ahead of 22nd position. So they need to win. They're probably going to go for it. I don't like that setup, though, going on the road. Though that's honestly not going to change their style of play. So Bodo Glimt, if they're a very defensive team that needed to win, that'd be more concerning, I think, for me. So I'm not as concerned. Big number. I probably want a full two. We'll see if we get that by 2 p.m. Central Time on the 28th of January. Move next to Barcelona hosting FC Copenhagen. Currently, Copenhagen, 2.5 goal underdog with a lot of juice. Actually, no, two more sets of juice on Copenhagen at this point. Total on this one is four, juiced all the way to over. Probably going to get a 4 1/4 at some point. Just enormous, but Copenhagen are a team that tries to score goals, so that makes a little bit more sense rather than less. That's about what I made it the total right now, actually. In terms of where these teams sit, Barcelona currently in ninth position on 13, tied for that first round bye, which is, I'm sure, very important to them. As for Copenhagen, they are sitting in 26th on 8 points, excuse me, 26th position. Lot of possibilities here moving through. Haven't really seen anybody eliminated so far. But Barca scores a ton of goals. Copenhagen want to. I don't know that I'm playing under there. So patreon.com/the_real_G Warner, a longtime subscriber, Joseph Dollar. I'm sure you're in love with me saying we might see some goals in this one. So over four. Good luck, Joe. I hope it's going to hit for you. Move next to Benfica hosting Real Madrid. Currently, Benfica, they are a 3/4 goal underdog at home with more juice on Los Blancos, Los Merengues from Madrid. Total in this one is 3 1/4, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under. That probably reflects Real Madrid and their strength, especially as a road favorite, though I'm not really a believer in what they've done so far this season. They've certainly seen a lot of goals in their matches. It's certainly a big change from Carlo Ancelotti's style, though you could argue heading into the Christmas break that Real Madrid were suddenly playing Ancelotti style. Currently, Real Madrid are on 15 points in third position. They're 1 point would make it really hard to jump them. A win certainly would guarantee them a first round bye in the knockout rounds of Champions League. On the other side, we have Benfica. They went through a manager change. They are trying their best to come up here. They're on 6 points right now in 29th position. They need to win this match. At home, it's very possible. Current spread is a draw will win you a full bet, which I'm sure they wouldn't want. And that does worry me late in the game. They're throwing their goalkeeper up in a pick 'em, in a draw, and that's not a good feeling, especially because there's a lot of goals are scored. But that is a pretty low probability event if all that sort of things happen. And I think we see a low scoring match. So we'll see if that goal ends up meaning anything. Moving next to Arsenal. They're hosting Kairat Almaty, currently 3 3/4 goal favorites, which is enormous. Almost all the juice on Kairat right now. Total in this one is 4 1/4, and it's juiced more to the over right now, minus 115. Certainly, Arsenal are going to squeeze the heck out of Kairat Almaty. Can they go on the road to London and compete? Is the big question. I am not certain. Currently, Arsenal in first position on 21 points, have won all their matches. As for Kairat, they are in last position with 1 point, having lost all but one match that they drew. That's probably not enough for me there to want to deal anything with that. Paphos then hosts Slavia Prague, as Slavia Prague will be heading to Cyprus. Currently, Paphos a pick'em at home with all the juice on Slavia Prague away. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's just pretty heavily to over right now. Slavia Prague are a defensive team. We'll see what they end up looking like, though, because this is probably the best chance they have to win, certainly on the road so far this season. Slavia Prague are on 3 points right now. Pafos on 6 points. Pafos actually have more of a chance to get through here, so it's a little bit surprising with 6 points to their name to Slavia Prague, only three yet. Slavia Prague are the favorite away, but that tells you, I think, the difference between these two teams and how much Paphos maybe surprised a couple teams so far this season. We'll move next to Napoli hosting Chelsea. Currently, Napoli, as I'm wearing a half Argentine, half Napoli Maradona kit. Currently, right now, quarter goal underdog right now are Napoli at home. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under. Serie A market in Italy has basically turned completely against Napoli. I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet in Champions League because I think they've got a manager that we can trust. We know what he does, which is really defensive football, which I do like that against the Chelsea side that are currently working on a new manager after the amazing decision to get rid of Enzo Maresca and bring in basically your minor league manager from Strasbourg. But it is how it is, and it is how it's gone. Napoli currently on 8 points and 25th on the outside looking in right now on the Champions League advance button. They're currently tied with goal differential at -5 with Olympiacos, but have scored one less goal. On the other side are Chelsea. They are sitting in eighth position in I guess the driver's seat to potentially advance to the knockout rounds and get a bye, but I just don't know that I believe it. So I'm pretty interested in Napoli right here. Monaco then host Juventus. Currently, Monaco a half goal underdog at home with the juice split both ways. Total in this one is 2 3/4, used very heavily to over. I'm just not a believer in what I've seen from Juventus at all this season. I don't really understand the market. Believe in them all of a sudden. I feel like they've really gotten a long way with a name that has not delivered on it for many, many seasons. Monaco have not been good. They've sacked managers. That's certainly not a great position. But currently, Monaco sit in 21st position on 9 points. They are not safe by any means, but are in decent position. Juventus on 12 points. They are in 15th. They are safe and have advanced, as far as I can tell. Yeah, I don't think they can be caught, but by anyone 22nd or below. But they need a good result here, as every Juventus match does. But maybe at this point, I mean, they're not expected to win matches all that often, I don't think. Monaco, certainly with more to play, have been, I think, very competitive in Champions League at home. I'm interested in that side for sure. Probably more interested in under than anything. Surprise, surprise, Joe Dollar and the rest of the Patreon crew. Patreon.com/real_G Warner for all my plays, leaners, write-ups across all sports. I just don't know that you've have had some more goals under Spalletti, so it's probably something I need to take advantage of or at least consider. Next, we'll move to Bayer Leverkusen, a three-quarter goal favorite at home to Villarreal. Villarreal, long since eliminated in Champions League, and maybe that's why they're a three-quarter goal underdog. Total in this one is 3, just all the way to over. I don't know that Villarreal have much to play for because they're eliminated. Do they care about being embarrassed if their backups lose a Champions League match? Probably not, but I do expect them to put a pretty good lineup out there despite having no reason to do so, and I wouldn't do it if it was up to me. I think at this point, I'm looking for Villarreal to move to a one-goal underdog. It's probably the minimum for me want to play it, and they've scored a ton of goals despite not really wanting the ball. Leverkusen score a ton of goals just because they want the ball, so that kind of fits into how Villarreal want to play. I don't know if that's a really great setup on the road in Germany. As for this one, Leverkusen currently on 20 or on 20th position on 9 points. They are not safe, and Villarreal on 35th out of 36 on 1. They are dead. Moving next to Union Saint-Gilloise, quarter goal underdogs at home to Atalanta. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it's used very heavily to over. I guess that reflects Uno Sandoval wanted to play offense, even though their manager left for Monaco earlier this same season. Atalanta on their second manager, or maybe third if you count a caretaker this season. Probably not, just count two. But Atalanta are sitting in 13th position on 13 points. 13s are wild, apparently. They are safe. They're moving through, but they are, of course, looking for a top 8 spot. Union Saint-Gilloise, they are currently in 31st on 6 points. Could find a way in if they get a win. So they're probably going for it. They're at home. That's probably the way I lean here, especially as a home underdog. But I don't know that I really liked it too much because Atalanta do have something to play for. Moving next to Sporting Clube de Portugal, or Sporting Lisboa, as you might see. They are a pick'em and they are on the road at Athletic Club, and they are actually favored, which is more juice, 6 cents more on the road team here, which is surprising to me, though. Athletic Club have had a disastrous season, and of course, have really missed the Williams brothers. But currently, Athletic Club in 23rd position, somehow sneaking their way onto 8 points. They are not by any means safe, but they're trying to get there. Sporting in 10th on 13 points says something, but going on the road to San Mamés is a really hard thing to do. As a pick 'em, no, absolutely no insurance. I lean to Athletic Club. I hope they move to an underdog. I don't necessarily think that happens, but I lean to under two as well because that's the style that Athletic Club need to play. Moving next to Club Bruges hosting Olympique de Marseille. Currently, Bruges a pick'em right now. All the juice on Marseille away. Total in this one is 3, and it is juiced very heavily to over. Marseille are a team that I like to back in this competition. They're currently sitting on 9 points in 19th position. Not safe, but are in the positions to advance right now. Bruges on the other side, they're on 7 points in 27th. They need a win. I'll be looking to see Bruges move to a favorite and potentially play Marseille, though I will not be playing until I get a quarter of a goal. Move next to PSV Eindhoven. They are hosting Bayern Munchen. And probably the toughest matchup you could potentially have in the last day, especially if you need some points. They're a goal and a quarter underdog with all the juice. Total in this one is 3 3/4, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under right now. Which says something. Bayern currently sitting in second position on 18 points. They have clinched the top 8. They don't really have much to play for, but I do expect a pretty good lineup from them. As for the PSV side, they're in 22nd on 8 points, so they're in pretty good shape too. If Bayern rests a lot, I think PSV look more and more interesting, and it's bigger than I made it. So we'll see what that lineup ends up looking like for Bayern München, the German champions and soon to be champions this season, it seems as well. Ajax then hosts Olympiacos. Currently, Ajax a quarter goal underdog with all the juice, which is saying something considering how poor they've been in this competition. Total is 2 3/4, and it's juiced very heavily to over. I think I'm interested in the Olympiacos side. They're currently in 24th position on 8 points. As for Ajax, they are on 6 points in 32nd. So they're not dead. They could be certainly making a move up. They need a win. They need a lot of help. I don't really trust them whatsoever, but quarter goal home underdog at home to a Greek side when you're playing in the Dutch Eredivisie with a big crowd, that probably means Ajax are worth a look. So I'll keep them on my list, even though I didn't say that initially. Eintracht Frankfurt then hosting Tottenham Hotspur. Currently Eintracht a half a goal underdog at home. All the juice is currently on Tottenham as well, which is saying something for how poor they've been on the road. Though who's backing Eintracht Frankfurt right now? Literally closing an underdog at home to TSG Hoffenheim this past weekend in the German Bundesliga, who are not playing in any European competition. So that's because their defense has been so bad. Totals at 2 3/4, who's very heavily to over. That reflects how much Eintracht has been struggling. They've changed managers, all those sort of things. Currently, Eintracht Frankfurt are on 4 points in 33rd. They cannot advance. They have nothing to play for. Tottenham on the other side, they are currently somehow in fifth position on 14 points. Wow, unbelievable. But if Eintracht Frankfurt put out a good lineup, I'm very interested. I just don't think they will. So that's my biggest question in that matchup, and that really impacts how much I want to play the under. To the last game on our list, in I guess a bridge version of the Match Day 8 Champions League episode, but we'll get to an ultimate best bet coming up soon. Currently, PSG, a 1-goal favorite at home to Newcastle. All the juice on PSG right now, probably moving to 1 1/4, I would guess, sooner rather than later. Total this one is 3.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. I guess that's how it goes. Do you trust Newcastle away from home? Not a lot of people have. PSG and Newcastle currently sitting 6th and 7th on 13 points and plus 10 goal differential. More goals scored by PSG, so that's why they're ahead. Seemingly evenly matched teams. PSG spend $1 billion in their team. Newcastle spends a lot, but not that much. I think we could see a close game here, but it seems like both these teams are pretty safe to go through for sure, but they want that top 8 seed. I don't know if a draw will be enough for Newcastle, but they'll certainly be playing for it, and we'll see if that ends up happening. So it's time for an ultimate best bet. Excuse me. As everyone can hear, I'm maybe getting healthy, but it doesn't seem that way. It's been a long, long time. I feel like I've been sick, but we're here. It's how it goes, I guess. And there's a lot more I want to also mention for the college basketball podcast with the Need for Seeds with Big East Ben. We had a double best bet winner in Texas Tech this past weekend. Try to keep that streak alive. I think I'm 8-2 in college basketball podcast best bet so far this season, and try to keep that streak going alive. We're also had a really good start to to the soccer season. And all the matches I've watched, we're currently 17, 12, and 2 right now, and 59% in matches I've cut up on. Thank you for coming in. Swan Tao Tong, Swanhead Tao Tong, 3936. What are your special tips for tonight? If you are listening, you're about to get it. So stick around. Don't leave anywhere. Thank you for coming in. I guess we do have some late night viewers. I appreciate that. In terms of other things to plug, the NFL podcast going through the Super Bowl with A Snigger, that should be coming out soon. He's been killing it during these playoffs. I still feel like the Rams are the right side. We're very close to a 2-0. If only for Sean McVay kicking a field goal, that would have been really, really nice. Of course, that didn't happen, but it would have been really appropriate. Would have appreciated that, Sean, but I guess I understand not necessarily doing that. In terms of, I guess, other things in this website. We will have a Europa League Match Day 8 episode, probably similar with permutations about where everyone needs to be and what everybody needs, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how long it'll be. Probably similar length, trying to get us through and try to get an idea of what we're going to look like, and then really what lineups to really be expecting. Because teams that are hopefully putting out their backups, we can find a way to get in there soon, quickly, and try to bet against them, and find teams that are really going for it and try to go for those as well. As for, I guess, other things to look at or look out for on this episode or episodes coming forward, I don't know, there's so many, but ultimately, let's get to an ultimate best bet portion of the show. So, what I do is I usually give out my favorite pick from Tuesday and Wednesday in Champions League, but since all matches are at the same time, there's really only one option to go here because everything started at the same time. Check out the reel that will come out on Instagram.com at @thereal_G_Warner, the YouTube short at @thereal_G_Warner. If you're not already subscribed on YouTube, please hit that. And of course, longtime Patreon subscribers, I thank you all, but also want to shout out the new ones, which I probably should do right now before I get to the ultimate best bet. So let's pull that out as quickly as we possibly can. Come on, baby. We're almost there. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here we go. I want to thank Mr. Biscuits. He's the most recent Patreon subscriber. I love that. If you want, like, I would love a response on like why you named it that. That'd be cool. I'd love to hear. It would make me happy, I would say. Let's see. Okay, yeah. New subscribers: Christopher Douglas, Allison McIntyre, Paul Mallon, Young Realist, Fallet Mac. Thank you all for coming in on YouTube. Appreciate you a lot. Dirty Sheets, Alex Alejandro, Vim Vitens, also been there. Cedric Vidal. I appreciate you all coming in. And of course, if I had a way to list my Spotify subscribers, I would shout that out too. I just don't have a way, and I think YouTube is quiet about it too. So I guess that's kind of where we're at this point. For the ultimate best bet on this episode, I guess I could potentially come out with it tomorrow, but I think that's trying to reward you all for sticking with us and hanging around. I'm going to go with Athletic Club, a pick'em at home. I'm a little worried about the lineup, but they're in this competition, trying to stay in it. Sporting Lisboa, I don't think deserve to be a pick'em on the road against a Spanish La Liga side, even though all the injury stuff that Athletic Club have dealt with. So give me Athletic Club Bilbao, a pick'em at home. Think that price is right. Probably a draw, but I think it can win, and I think it'll keep them in Champions League and potentially move them through to find some potential clout on a bad season so far. And that'll be the end of this episode. We'll see you all on the Europa League episode tomorrow. Thanks for all tuning in, especially late night live viewers. I appreciate you coming in at nearly 2 a.m., and I'll talk to you all soon.